Two people can make the exact same money, yet a decade later, one is wealthy and the other is still struggling. Why? Well, welcome to today's deep dive. We're gonna answer that exact question by looking into the psychology of money, more to do with how your brain is wired. Think about this wild contrast. Imagine earner A, let's call him Amir. He's wealthy, completely financially secure. Then you have earner B, Pershawn, who is incredibly stressed out and, well, broke. Now, when you look at the research, that massive difference in their net worth 10 years down the line, it's not about the math of their paychecks. It's not because Amir found some magical secret side hustle. No, it is entirely driven by behavioral habits. Parshawn is falling into these invisible psychological traps that literally drain his bank account before he even knows what hit him. ऐसा क्यों होता है? Why does this happen? Seriously, ask yourself, why do smart, super capable people with perfectly good incomes constantly find themselves completely broke? The answer isn't sitting in a spreadsheet somewhere. To solve this, we actually have to look at a really fascinating field that combines money and the human mind. It's called behavioral economics. So, according to the Harvard Federal Credit Union, behavioral economics is all about the psychological, emotional, and cognitive factors that drive our decisions. The big takeaway here, we almost never spend money based purely on logic. I mean, traditional economics assumes we're all these perfectly rational beings, but let's be real. Human behavior is incredibly messy. Our financial choices are massively driven by emotions, stress, boredom, and honestly, just that craving for immediate satisfaction. So that super expensive coffee you bought yesterday, even though it totally blew your budget, yeah, that actually has a firm basis in psychology. And hey, if you've ever felt guilty about impulse spending, let me validate that struggle for you right now with a pretty staggering number. Data from Bankrate shows that a massive 83% of adults have made impulse purchases. In fact, nearly 4 out of 10 made an impulse buy just in the last month alone. This really proves we're dealing with a systemic psychological trap. Our brains are literally wired to hunt for that quick dopamine hit of buying something new. And it certainly doesn't help that 64% of us have our credit card info saved online, right? It just makes it way too easy to buy with a single click. Now, here's another huge piece of the puzzle from Vanguard's financial wellness research. 65% of people report being significantly stressed out about money. And here's the catch. When you're stressed, behavioral scientists say you experience something called tunneling. Basically, you get tunnel vision. You focus entirely on the immediate emergency, like just making it to your next paycheck, instead of looking at your long-term goals. Stress literally blocks your wider vision, keeping you trapped in a cycle of short-term, totally emotionally driven money decisions. Part 2, the trap. Lifestyle inflation. We all kind of think, man, if I just got a raise, all my money problems would instantly vanish. But for the vast majority of people, that is completely false. And it's all because of lifestyle inflation. Vanguard defines this as the tendency to spend more on your lifestyle when you have more money available from a pay increase. It's the exact reason why making more money rarely translates into actually saving more money. Think about it. You get a promotion, so you instantly decide you need a nicer apartment. Or you get a bonus, so you lease a luxury car instead of sticking with your reliable old one. Your expenses naturally just inflate to match your new income, eating up every single extra dollar. So yeah, you're making more, but psychologically, you're living on the exact same financial edge. Part 3, the mindset shift, rich versus poor. So how on earth do we break out of this endless cycle of emotional spending? Well, it takes a fundamental rewiring of how you view your paycheck. It's a critical shift between a poor mindset and a rich mindset. Here's how a poor mindset works. You get paid, you pay your bills, you buy some fun stuff. And then, if by some absolute miracle there's money left over, you save it. But spoiler alert, there is almost never anything left. A rich mindset flips that completely upside down. As financial experts always say, you have to pay yourself first. You save and invest a chunk of your income the second it hits your account. Savings become a total non-negotiable, and then you just build your lifestyle around whatever is actually left. Part 4, 3 rules to wealth. All right, so understanding the psychology behind all this is step 1. Step 2 is actually putting up guardrails to protect yourself from your own brain. We're going to look at 3 actionable, super easy rules from financial experts to stop emotional spending in its tracks. This is basically your roadmap to escaping that lifestyle inflation trap. Rule 1, save 20% of your income. Rule 2, wait 24 hours before any impulse purchase. And Rule 3, invest a portion of your money every single month. Let's quickly break down exactly how to do these. Rule 1 uses the classic 50-30-20 budget method, which is highly recommended by institutions like SoFi and Freed. It works like this. You put 50% of your income toward absolute needs, like rent and basic groceries. 30% goes to wants, like dining out or hobbies. But the absolute magic happens with that remaining 20%, which is strictly for savings and paying off debt. By locking away that 20% immediately, you're building a solid boundary. As the experts at Freed point out, that 30% for wants isn't a blank check to spend freely. It's a hard limit. Once that bucket is empty, the spending stops. Period. Moving on to Rule 2, which directly tackles that crazy impulse buying stat we talked about earlier. We call this the 24-hour pause, or building no-spend days into your week. The whole strategy here, as outlined by Western and Southern Financial Group, is to force a mandatory 24-hour waiting period before you buy anything non-essential. See, there's this constant battle happening in your brain. Your emotions are screaming at you. Buy it now. It's on sale. I need that dopamine hit. But by forcing yourself to wait just one day, you give your logical brain a chance to catch up. This simple pause totally disrupts the emotional shopping cycle. It forces you to actually ask yourself, wait, do I already own something like this? Or do I actually need this, or am I just bored on social media? More often than not, after 24 hours, that burning urge to buy completely disappears. And now for Rule 3. Invest monthly and harness the power of compounding. Just hiding your cash under a mattress or in a low-yield bank account is simply not going to make you wealthy. According to research in the International Journal of Multidisciplinary Research and Technology, you have to leverage compound interest. Think of compounding as your money having babies, and then those babies having babies. You're earning interest on your interest. It is without a doubt the single most powerful tool a regular investor has to build real wealth. There's a fascinating example from the research comparing two guys, Amar and Vijay. So Amar starts investing super early at age 21, but with a tiny amount, just $2,000 a month. Vijay, on the other hand, waits until he's 35 and then tries to play catch up by throwing a massive $10,000 a month into his investments. But because Amar gave his money way more time to compound, his wealth ends up staggeringly higher than Vijay's. The takeaway here, you absolutely don't need to be rich to start investing. You just need to be early, and you need to be disciplined. The sheer power of time and consistency is honestly kind of shocking. Like, if you start with $10,000 and you never add another dime to it, 30 years later it grows to about $57,000. Not bad, right? But if you start with that same $10,000 and you just consistently invest $500 every single month and then bump that up by 5% each year as you earn more, your wealth explodes to over $933,000 in 30 years. Consistency and avoiding that lifestyle inflation we talked about is literally what creates millionaires. So if there is one crucial thing to take away from all this data, it's beautifully summed up by this idea. Money सिर्फ numbers का game नहीं, mindset का game है. True financial freedom doesn't mean you need a fancy finance degree. It fundamentally comes down to mastering your own behavioral psychology. It's about spotting those emotional triggers, fighting off the lifestyle creep, paying yourself first, and letting time do the heavy lifting for you. जब आप अपनी सोच बदलते हैं, तभी आपकी financial life बदलती है. When you finally change the way you think, that's exactly when your financial reality transforms. You've got the tools, you know the rules, and you've seen the data to break out of the broke cycle once and for all. So the only question left is, are you ready to change your mindset? अगर आप finance और money tips चाहते हैं, तो channel को subscribe जरूर करें. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, and go take control of your financial future today.